We are live on TishTalks. Looks like I have with me today Aziz Shabazz, and he is here to talk to us today just about some of the. Well, I'm here to pick his brain because he's got so many nuggets from what I'm hearing on wealth building, on being a team player, on establishing a team. So I thought it was very, very important that we talk to him. Thanks so much for joining me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. No, I am looking forward to this. So, from what I've talked with you in the past, and I found out a little bit more about you. But one of the things that I loved is that you take a leadership role on your team and you really do like train, you talk to people, you help them, and you're a great mentor from what I've found out. So I wanted to know first off, can you tell us a little bit about you and what it is that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, my name is Aziz Shabazz. I'm with EXP Realty. I also have a financial consultancy business as well. So we help people all the way around, business owners, everything. I coach, train, mentor. I kind of wear all hats. I got into real estate probably about 17, 18 years ago. Got into some buy and hold, some fix and flip. But then I also got my real estate license about 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, something like that. And, started out doing a regular realtor activity, selling homes part time for like 2 years. Did 17 transactions my first year, 24 transactions my second year part time. In my second year, I went full time, left my 9 to 5 job and, at that point, I got my managing broker's license. I was able to then start my own office, and my top year individually was 54 transactions in a single year. That put me at 11 million in sales value. Since then, I have moved my business over to EXP Realty because it was a platform that just made more sense for me as an individual agent, for my, I guess, my aspirations of, you know, where the managing broker license and title is supposed to place you. It just made more sense to strategically move to EXP.
Wow. So you left your 9 to 5 after 2 years to focus more on real estate and to become a managing broker, correct?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yep. Went full time my second year, got my managing broker's license. You have to wait 2 years
Okay.
before you can get your managing broker's license. So, I was studying, 1 year and 9 months. I started studying. So as soon as my year hit, I went and took my test, got my managing broker's license right away.
Okay, so this is what I want to know because a lot of people are scared to do that. It's a combination of just being scared of jumping into the unknown and also believing in yourself as well. So, what made you decide to go ahead and become a managing broker and take that extra step?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it's all about positioning, leverage, putting yourself in the best possible situation that you can be. I never really want to solely be a worker, right? I always want to find myself in that, even in corporate America, in that management position, and just elevating, right? Never stopping, always going, right? Trying to attain the next level. So that was part of it, part of the reason why. And then also, you want to be able to create and generate some passive and residual income. When you're a managing broker, part of it is okay. Now you can not have to spend so much time. That's the idea. The idea that you can not have to spend so much time, running with buyers and sellers, but you could build something larger. So you can either go into, structuring the team, or you could actually put together an office and then have a team within the office, and then have multiple teams, multiple agents, etc. So that's what originally, and of course, I come from a training background in corporate America where I train individuals, train teams. I was leading, 3 shifts, in corporate America before I moved completely into real estate. So it was just very natural for me. I always been coaching, I always been training, but looking back on it, and I know like to hear the title of managing broker is something that's like an accomplishment. And but looking back on it, actually, if I had to do it all over again, I probably would not have went and got my managing broker's license. And I know that's something that
Yeah.
a lot of people will say, well, why would you say that, right? Well, because of the EXP business model, it actually kind of puts you in that income seat of a managing broker without having to have the managing broker's license or the responsibility. It was just a smarter move, and
I'm
I
sure
didn't
not
make
a lot
any.
of people know that at all.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't, and they think one thing about EXP, but don't really know it. And the I was people. I was when say people this, people that. Well, I was people. I had seen it years ago, and I didn't really pay attention to it. I blocked it out. And then when I went back and I revisited, and I actually took the time to sit and analyze, I said, "Man, this is mind blowing." It's like just from hanging your license, it's like you automatically they're giving you a franchise. And that's what
Oh,
I was
wow.
already building anyway. So then I was able to go from being very local, to just a few mile radius around where I was at, where I was building my office, to now I can expand throughout the whole state, but not only the state, all 50 states, and also in 25 countries. And I scaled that overnight, went
Wow.
global using the platform. Yeah. So I have
That's
agents
pretty
more
impressive.
than just Illinois. We got agents in California, we got agents in North Carolina, agents in Georgia, and we're working on a couple other states too. Of course, Chicago. I'm probably leaving out some states, but we're going to be we're working on a couple other countries as well that we're going to have some agents in.
Wow. And so, what I hear you saying, side note, is that if anyone is looking to buy or sell in another state, you are actually the person to go to, and you can help with that as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we can help individuals in other states, other countries, that because we have a network of agents all across the globe, but also for individuals that are all across the globe and real estate agents that are looking to build wealth and use their real estate license in a multitude of capacities, multiple streams of income with just their license. Then we should definitely talk. It doesn't matter what state they're in.
Nice. That's awesome. So, again, I've heard you speak about leadership. I've heard you speak about development, about personal development, about team development. So, my next question to you is what makes your team and EXP so different? And you've touched on it a little bit, but can you go into a little bit more detail? Why are you guys so unique?
Yeah, absolutely. So, have you ever heard of the four income quadrants? Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book about it.
I'm going to say no so you can tell me about it.
Okay, all right, all right. So, with the four income quadrants, and if anybody's ever heard about it, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, it's gonna be something that you should Google the actual diagram and look up the picture of it. But there's four income quadrants, right? And most people are in the E quadrant, right? The E is the employee. So you trade your time for someone else to make them rich. But then you have the S quadrant. As realtors, we are all in the S quadrant. That's self employed. Most people, as realtors, we say, we have a business, or I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner. Well, really, you're just self employed. You're still employed, you're just employed for yourself, right? So you're trading your time to make yourself rich, okay? Um, Now, both of those are great. Employee, self-employed, you can get rich there. It's going to take a lot of work. You can probably get wealthy there, but that's not truly where you want to be. So there's the other side of the diagram. That's the I and the B. Okay, so the I is the investor, where your money makes money for you. Okay, and then the B is the business, the true business owner, where the collaboration with others, you can leverage that time where you don't always have to trade your time for money. Okay. And the I and the B is where you really get wealthy. Okay. So most of us are in the E or the S, but as a real estate agent, when you come into to your traditional brokers, you are not in the I or the B. You're just in the self employed. So with EXP, the I, the investor, right? Imagine investing your money in something, and then it makes money for you, right? That's the investor. But imagine an EXP, you don't have to invest money into what you're doing, and it's going to actually make money for you. And that's because of our stock equity program. Just for closing deals, now we become investors and we become owners of the company, right? just like that, just for closing deals, and we would close deals no matter where we went anyway. And then the B, the actual business owner, is actually being able to have a team or structure or downline or organization, whichever term you prefer to use. But now it's in revenue shares. So EXP is compensating you for what your team is doing and for coaching your team, for helping your team and helping your team grow. And now it sits you into that managing broker seat, but you could do that from year one. Day
Wow.
one with EXP, you don't have to wait 2 years to get a license. You don't have to have the responsibility, the liability of your agents doing something wrong. Plus, you got a full support system. So I like to compare it to um, imagining you had a Chick-fil-A franchise, a McDonald's franchise, a Burger King franchise, right? That's what you're given when you come to EXP because you have that full support. Now that's one piece of EXP. Now on the real estate agent side, as far as transactions, okay, we got the best tools, the best software, the best training, a multitude of training, but also I want to say this: we have access because of one of the systems, right? In real estate, you in any business, you got to be big on systems and processes, right? We have a system and a process that actually gives us as EXP agents access to institutional cash buyers. Okay, and it's a really great system. It helps when you prospect for sellers, like not just your regular investor, right? I'm talking about individuals that have millions and billions of dollars. We have
Wow.
access to them as cash buyers, which we can then leverage homes that we already have as listings. But when we're prospecting for listings, that's something that we can have in our back pocket to say we might be able to get you a cash offer in 2 days.
Wow. And I'm sure that's unheard of having access to that platform, especially when you're starting your own brokerage. You're just out there trying to figure out, what to do. When you're saying that they've made it so easy for you and for you to succeed, that it's taken a lot of the stress away, right?
Oh, absolutely. There's a multitude of managing brokers who have now converted their offices over into EXP because it's a no brainer. It makes sense.
Wow. So
Yeah.
what kind of advice can you give for someone who's thinking about real estate investing, whether it's like just jumping out there and taking the test, becoming a realtor and then an investor that way, or just looking to maybe flip houses or thinking that they can flip houses or just gain riches from that sort of activity?
Yeah, a lot of people that want to become investors think that they have to become a real estate agent first. That's not necessarily the case. Now, I know people that want to do wholesaling and they say, okay, well now the laws have changed, so that then they want to become real estate brokers because they want to broker their own deals for the wholesaling side of things. But there are realtors that work with wholesalers as well. Um, I don't think that anyone needs to become a realtor, but I think connecting with realtors is always going to be great because they can speed up the process. I mean, that could be making a good connection too, not just low having to try to find someone that you can have lowball every offer and hopefully you get a good deal. But I mean, connecting with a realtor that, mentor you, coach you, that, is really into investing as well. That would be the best thing. I mean, studying. Look, I got a real estate investment online course that's free. Just soak up the knowledge. Soak up the knowledge.
You definitely have to give me that info so that I can post it here for other people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I first bought my first property, I didn't know anything. I had no mentor, I had no coach, and that's one of the biggest things. Find somebody that can mentor you, that'll coach you, that has the same interests and goals that you have, and there's an alignment, right? Seek that individual out. But for me, I didn't have that. When I bought my first property, and what I ended up doing was I was in a library a lot. I was in a library a lot. I was using some Google. I think at the time, yeah, I was doing like some Google stuff. That was years ago, but I think I was searching online. But I was in a library a lot, and most people don't even know this. Um, my first, uh, I've really never told anybody this, but my first venture into real estate, I was actually a loan officer. um,
Ah, nice.
So this was back in the day. This was before the market crash, 2008. So I was just studying up because I wanted to, this is the biggest investment you'll make probably in your lifetime. So I'm like, well, I can't take this lightly. So I was just reading up on stuff. So at the time, I used to pick up those job magazines that'll be like next to the bus stop. And I would see one of those booths and I'll pick up one of those magazines. So there was an ad in the back and it said, loan officer, no experience necessary, right? So I went to the interview and I had studied so much on it before I went to the interview. The lady was like, you said you've never done this before? I said, no. She's like, how do you know all of this stuff? Then I said, I just been researching. So she gave me the job. And I actually was the LO for my first property. Um, but then I was like, you know what? I didn't really like sitting behind the desk and the computer and stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm out. And then I started just doing some buy and holds and fix and flip stuff. And then I doubled back years later because everybody told me become a realtor, become a realtor. And I was like, you know what? I'm not at the time, I'm like, I'm not a people person. I don't want to drive people around in my car. And, I was like, and so I was like, no, right? And then years later, and I wish I had listened then, but I didn't. But years later, I decided I wanted to become a real estate agent. Reason being is because at my 9 to 5 job, you get so good at it, I could do it with my eyes closed. Now I'm managing, I'm supervising, but literally somebody, I could not even be there. Somebody could call me, tell me what the problem was. I could tell them what to do. I don't even have to see it. Right. So once you get so good at something, it just becomes like habit, like you know it like the back of your hand. And at that point, I said, okay, I need something else to do. And then I was thinking about selling two of my properties. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to pay this commission. Maybe I'll get my real estate license and I'll sell a couple houses, make an extra like 10K a year. That'll be like vacation or upgrade on a car or something. And, I'll just look at it like that, an extra income tax check. That's what I said at the time. So it'd be extra income tax check. Then I sell my own properties. So I got into the business, and my managing broker at that time said, "Well, how many houses do you want to sell this year?" And I said, "I don't know, like five." And he laughed at me. It's like five. I'm like, yeah, man, that'd be good. That'll take care of my fees. Maybe seven. I sell my own house. I make some extra money. He's like, man, bro, you crazy. You'll do more than that. And I was like, well, I guess if I do. So by the time I end up even selling my first property that I was going to sell of my own, I had already closed like 7 deals or
Oh,
something like
wow.
that. Yeah, and then I sold mine, and it sold. So I was like, you know what? I could do this. I got that first check. And I'm like, that's it. That's all I had to do. I can cash this. And he's like, yeah. I was
And
like,
it's yours.
you're not gonna ask me for any money after this? I'm done. And this was after my split and all of that, right? And I was like, all right, yeah, let's go. So it was on after that. It was on since then.
Well, I can tell you're doing an amazing job, you and your team. So I love your
Appreciate it.
approach. No problem. Your approach, the way that you take care of clients, and the education that you put out for people too. Which leads me to my next question, which I have to ask. Everybody wants to know, is now the time to buy? What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, now is a touchy time. I mean, the market is getting better though. It's not as competitive as it was. The rates are getting better as well. Um, but only time that I wouldn't buy is if I'm upside down. I would hate to be upside down where it's like you overpaid the appraisal value. I don't necessarily recommend that. But if someone wants to buy and they're like, hey, I really want this house, and they understand like, okay, you're paying more than what it's actually worth right now. It could keep going up. Then that's gonna really be their choice. Because people buy for different reasons other than just the investment purpose of things. So um, I would say yes, it's always a good time to buy because you have appreciation in equity. So that's always going to be a plus, a pro of buying. Um, but then also, especially if you have something that generates some passive income. I like to buy properties that have both, that have equity and that have passive income. Because even if, the equity didn't grow or the market tanked or whatever, you still have that passive income. And if you got to wait it out or ride it out, you're not really losing anything. And the market always, bounces back. So, yeah, all time is a good time to buy. All times is a good time to buy because I like to say this: either you're going to buy a house. This is my saying. You're going to buy a house one way or another, right? It's just a matter of if you're buying it for uh, yourself or if you're buying a house for your landlord. But
That's a great way to put it.
yeah, you're going to buy a house, no matter what. Just who you buying a house for. So I think you
Okay.
probably buy a house for yourself.
I'll remember that. So, on the flip side of that, though, I've come across a lot of people that are really, 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 really nervous about selling nowadays. And people sell for different reasons. Some because they want to, they don't want the house. Some because they're going to lose it. Some because, they just want to see what type of equity that they can get. What advice can you give to those people that are nervous about selling?
Well, I mean, it depends on, why they want to sell. If they're just, like you said, like, okay, if they're in a jam and they're in a pre-foreclosure state or something like that, and they got some equity there and they need to get out of the house, okay, that's a high sense of urgency. Hey, we got to go ahead and move quick, and make that move quick to get your house on the market and go ahead and get it sold for you. If it's a situation where someone has equity and they just kind of want to know what their equity looks like. Okay, well, what's the game plan? Okay, yeah, you got a lot of equity in the house, but what's the game plan? Are you upsizing? Are you downsizing? What's the purpose of selling? Right, moving out of the state or whatever. Because if you don't want to upgrade, if you want to downgrade, and you're just selling for the equity that you could gain, where you probably need to be moving into an area where the price point is lower or the taxes are lower or something, so that you can actually benefit from that transition. So, I'm never going to try to talk someone into selling. They're going to have their reasons of why they want to sell. And you know what? Hey, see what's on the market, see what's out there, put together a game plan before you sell. Set a contingency so that hey, whoever buys the property from you will allow you to do a rent back or give you a certain amount of time to move, or and that way you can make an easy transition. But there's multiple ways to solve the problem. If they foresee a problem, right? There's different ways you can go about it. Bridge loans, etc. Right? That can help the transition, make the transition smoother. I would think that's the only thing that will hold people back. Is like, okay, if I find something, you know, like how, like I still need to sell my house, and then if my house doesn't sell and all of that, but then that's where we come in too, as EXP agents, where we have access to those cash buyers, institutional cash buyers that may be able to get your whole home sold in 10 days,
Wow.
offering two and sold in 10. So it's a various ways of solving those problems.
Well, I really do appreciate you sharing with us. And looks like we are almost out of time, but I do want to ask, is there anything else that you feel that I have not asked or that you want to leave with us? Because I know you got a lot of nuggets and you shared a lot with us today. So I'll let you have the floor. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I guess who is the main audience here? Is it realtors? Tell me who's the main audience. Is it
Our
what's your
main
audience?
audience is realtors.
Okay, okay. So realtors, a lot of times, look, and I know I'm speaking probably to the majority of people because the statistics say it, that 90% of people fail, or 90% of agents fail within like their first 2 years in the business, right? And you might be looking for that secret key to success, right? One, I'm going to say definitely get with a good platform, right? Mentorship, etc. But at the end of the day, it comes down to a decision of what you want to do, how hard you want to go, how much effort you're going to put into it. A term that I just came across, and I won't take credit for it myself. It was research plus real life equals ROI, right? The research comes first, like dig into your craft. A lot of people want to come into a business in any business and they just want to go, 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 and they want to make money and they want to, do the marketing and all of that. But if you don't set the foundations of learning your craft, then it's all going to crumble. You're going to build a house on sticks, right? So build a house. Don't build a house on dirt. Lay the foundation. Do it the right way. It's the part that nobody will see is the foundation. Nobody sees the foundation. Nobody says that foundation got great curb appeal, right? Nobody sees that, but that's the main part of your business. Else you'll be building on sticks. Take time, learn, develop, right? That's the research. Dig into your craft. If you give 100% at your job, give 100% at your business, right? That's the research part. The real life part, you may not have that real life experience, but that's where your mentor comes in to give you that real life experience. Be coachable, be willing, ready, and coachable, right? And then those two are going to equal the ROI.
And that just wasn't for realtors. It seems like that was just for entrepreneurs, people that are thinking about starting their own business as well. So, really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I coach all the way around. Look, realtors, lenders, insurance agents, business, it doesn't matter because it's really the same game. Sometimes people look at being a realtor not as having a business. It's the same thing. It's just actually a smarter business to have because you don't have to have an actual brick and mortar. You don't have to have pay lights, gas, electric. You don't have to buy supplies and clothing and food and then prep it and then cook it, right? We're just guiding people from A to Z, right? Like we didn't build the house, and we're not the ones that's funding the loan, right? They were going to buy the house, with or without us. But what we do is we let them know that we're here, that we exist, that we're knowledgeable, that we can help them and guide them through the process, right? And we make that purchase, that transition, that transaction a whole lot smoother than they were trying to do it themselves. It's really a great business to be in, but don't forget it's still a business at the
Right,
end of the day.
right. So, how can anyone get in contact with you to get advice, coaching, if they're thinking about becoming a realtor or looking for a new home? How do they reach out to you?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? You can find me on social media. Just type my name in. You'll see me, blue jacket, EXP logo on the back. But also, I have a link tree that links someone to everything, all my social media. Everything is www.coachaziz, CoachAziz.info. Okay, www.coachaziz.info. You can find me there. Find me on social media. Probably reach me on social media better than my cell phone, to be honest with you. So,
Sounds good. All right. Thanks again for joining us. I really appreciate you taking time to talk with us and share your information.
all right. Thank you, Tish. It's been a pleasure. And I'll see you around soon. We're going to be working together anyway.
Yeah. See you soon. Thanks.
All right. All right. Bye.